Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, this is the Carganilla Online Variety Entertainment Podcast. Leading off, your host, Paul Carganilla.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to COVEpod. This is the online variety show in which we aim to both entertain and inspire both our podcast listeners and YouTube viewers through a variety of art forms and entertainment, including music, poetry, special guest storytelling, interviews, travel blogs, dramatic readings, and oh, so much more. It's a mixed bag of conversations, experiences, thoughts, and ideas, creative reflections to get you excited to see in your podcast feed whenever it drops in, to get you excited about life in general, whatever you're working on, whatever you're listening to, whatever you're reading. We hope this just spices up and enhances your creative and inspired experiences any way that we can. I am very excited here tonight as we are back from the COVEpod hiatus, and we're getting back on the train with the same passenger we hopped off the train with back in episode 51 this past January of this year. Today's actually our third anniversary annual episode of the Your Creative Journey podcast reunion show, and we're gonna get into all that. As excited I am because for this relaunch of the podcast, I have the pleasure of hanging out with two of my most favorite human beings in the whole entire world for the next 30 or 40 minutes or so. One of those two, let's bring him back in here and bring the cart back in front of the horse, ladies and gentlemen. Craig Jackman.
Oh my gosh, season 3.
It's basically like season 2.346 at this point.
There you go.
I don't know. But no, we've had a little 10 and a half month hiatus here. How have you been, sir?
Oh my gosh, I've been great. I've been waiting. I've been looking forward to this because I know how just so many people out there to chat with, to get to know. And I love the way that you opened today's podcast, because it says creativity, creative.
Yeah.
And I know that, maybe I'm putting the cart before the horse here, because that was part of where you got started with podcasting and who we are going to be speaking with tonight, because bringing out that creativity is what this is all about and what we've all been doing, not only here on Cove, but on Audacity and everywhere else.
Yeah. And, planting the seed and cultivating, supporting each other. And so much of that is just woven into the whole Vodastic experience when COVID started, and we all got together here on Zoom and YouTube and said, how can we keep the creativity going in these dark times where we can't even be together? But as you mentioned, our guest today, Kevin, Gregg, and we actually did 60 episodes of the Your Creative Journey podcast. We wrapped it almost 3 years ago in February of 2022. And that began, we can, kick memories around with Kevin, but I reached out to him during COVID and I said, hey, can we do like a 4 or 5 episode thing about creativity? And that turned into a 60 episode stretch of the Your Creative Journey podcast. But Kevin and I, if you're not familiar, if you're meeting him for the first time, he and I met 20 years ago, I think. He's been a friend, a mentor, a podcast co-host of mine, not just a mentor of mine, but he teaches and inspires so many creatives here in the world through his work and through his life. He's been a creative professional for over 25 years as an actor, director, writer, and content creator. He's the recipient of an Ovation and LA Weekly Theater Awards, and he's a member of the Disneyland Resort Entertainment Hall of Fame. as I mentioned, the last episode of this show we released in January of this year, and we were talking about the brand new online community he was creating, ready to launch, called Working Creatives. And now it's 10 and a half months in. We're going to reconnect and talk about how it's going and his experience so far, and catch up with this dude. Let's bring him in here, ladies and gentlemen. Kevin, Gregg.
Hello, boys. Hi. Glad to be back. Good to see you, Paul, producer Craig. Hello.
Oh,
Good to see you,
so
Kevin.
good to see you, buddy.
Hi,
How
guys.
is life for Kevin Gregg right now?
It's fantastic. I'm glad to be able to have these reunions with you because we sure did, man. 60 episodes, starting out as a Paul. I'm only going to do 4 or 5 and let's see how this goes. And we just kept rolling. I still get people that reach out to me on a continual basis that just go, "Holy smokes, man! Those podcasts really did something." With such a great list of guests and stuff that came in
Yeah.
over the years. It was pretty awesome. Very cool.
Wow. So people still bring those up to you.
I have it all the time. I literally just had it this last year. Rom, who's on here, Rom Farron, who's on here, just said, "I cannot tell you how much those episodes affected me." I get people that talk to me about those on a regular basis. Pretty cool.
That's
Pretty cool, Paul.
fantastic.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
That's a
awesome.
wonderful thing too, Paul, about this, and especially for everybody that's on here. If you look through part of the Audacity channels, or even if you just look up your creative journey, the awesome thing that we did, especially as we were doing those shows, was to really make them evergreen. So that they were things that you could listen to the assorted guests that we had, and I don't think that they were like time specific. There might be certain things that we talk about on those that deal with a certain time period, but for the most part, they're kind of evergreen, and I think they sort of speak to what the challenges that most creatives face. So take a look back, man. They're really good. They still speak to people even today, Paul. Even today.
I love to hear that so much. And I don't want to sound like the kid at the dinner table that's not getting a compliment, but like nobody brings it up to me ever. So hearing it from you is
Yeah.
great.
No, it's awesome.
So happy to hear that.
But I'm doing very good. Doing very well. It's really good to see you guys here today. And yes, Working Creatives, it got launched just over a year ago, and man, we're doing good. We're really, really cooking with it, which is part of the reason why I came on here tonight to talk to people about it as well. But we'll get there. We'll get there.
Yeah. So, I mean, let's dive in. I mean, normally on a normal episode, when I'm introducing someone for the first time, it's a little different. But for you, this is now your, I think, at least third time on the show. Yeah, because
sure.
it's our third annual reunion. So I think any regular listeners of COVEpod don't need to hear your 60 seconds about your life, but let's talk about your life right this second. Like, what's going on? What are you doing?
I'll say some. I think the big things I want to share here with the audiences here, and I hope that this serves as a spark and inspirational moment for them. I think that we all sort of get to these crossroads as we're doing stuff in our life that we think about, things that we've always wanted to do, or that we've been doing certain things in our life, and then we always realize. And again, I speak to people that are around my age, or people that are that may be a little bit older, or people that are a little bit younger. But I think that there's this constant fear of going, "Oh no, I've missed the boat. Like, this is it. I had my one shot or whatever this was, and it didn't work out the way that I hoped that it would, and it's over. Or this idea or this thing that I had, it's just dead." And for me, I can't. I have had so many of these crossroads that have popped up for me over the decades, right? And I think that I'm in one of those transitions as well, where I finally got to a point where, I think that I've talked about this before. It's definitely in my groups, but I just had this moment where I've had several of these ideas that I've wanted to get out on a bigger, in a bigger way, in a bigger forum. And particularly this idea that I had with Working Creatives, this idea that I had with Working Creatives was something I had almost 25 years ago. And it was something that I did with my original website, which was kevingregg.net. And this is going back to when people were using message boards at the time, right? So people were using message boards, and I thought, well, I'll just have kevingregg.net, and then we'll have a place where, like, people can come on and kind of like share their stuff. And I kind of got, I got cold feet with it because I had a couple of people that came in and sort of trolled the boards and all that stuff. And then I just thought, nah, let me not do that. And here I am 25 years later, just kind of going, no, this is it. I wanted to create a place where people were able to come, that they had a vision, a drive for something that has just been continuing to just be with them. For me, it's God. Like, God is continuing to just put this idea on your heart. And I wanted to create a space where it was like, great, let's figure out how we build that project for yourself. And even with whatever busy things are happening in your work, create a regular space where you're showing up with people that are giving you supportive, encouraging feedback, not being puppy dogs and unicorns, just going like, oh, that's great, but like having constructive feedback that's designed to help you move that project forward. And that's what I've been doing in working creatives. And I use it for a variety of different mediums. So we have people that come in with all sorts of skills, whether they're writers or directors or filmmakers or musicians or artists or whatever they are. They're coming in and they go, I've kind of had this idea or this thought, and I've really wanted to get this out in the world, and I want to figure out a way to get it, number one, out to an audience, and then figure out a way that I can kind of monetize it. And that's what we're kind of all learning together over there at Working Creative. So it's been super exciting. It's been one of these moments. This is the last I'll do when I'll throw it back over to you, because you know that this happens with me, Paul. I just go, right? But the big thing that happens with me is I just had this moment where I know that I've had some of these ideas, and I feel like so many people that I've met in my creative circles, I think that the default has been, yeah, it's either one of two things. It's like, yeah, I've got these creative ideas, but I don't know if that's something I can like legitimately do and try to make a living or a life for myself on. Or the other thing is they end up working for a larger company or corporation, and then they don't really have as much of a say with what it is that they want to be doing. And instead, they're sort of being told what they need to create or produce. And I think I just had this moment that happened for me over the last couple of years of going, yeah, I don't think I need to be waiting for gatekeepers anymore, right? Especially in the era that we're living in, which is going, let's just go out and start just blazing a path forward and just getting attention that way, and making things like truly resonate with people, that other people can just look at and go, I completely identify with that. That you're telling a story that I completely relate to. Um, and yeah, and people just sharing their personal stories as they're creating this art, especially in this age of AI where it feels like everything can be made so quick. And I think that we're running into an era right now where we're looking for almost the trust economy, where there's something that happens that even when you see something that's AI generated, yeah, it can be cool, but there's something behind you that goes, yeah, that kind of feels like it's AI generated. And I think that even though we can use these tools amazingly, I think that people want to also find out who the creators are that are behind it, and why they're creating it, and what's the purpose of what they're creating it. And I think as people are starting to tell their stories and share their experience as they're building their projects, I think that that causes people to just go, I'm in. Whatever you're going to do next, I'm in. Tell me whatever creative project you're going to do, I'm in. I'm going to follow you, you know?
You touched on two things that I want to address. And the first is there's so much to be said for not starting a project because you're afraid of uh, judgment.
Mhm.
And that's the thing that, like, what makes an artist, or a creator, is you want to bear a part of your soul that, and show it to people and expect or ask for a response. And so many people, I think, don't take that first step because it's so scary. That prospect is so scary.
Yeah.
So being in a community that you've created where you can do that in a safe space is
Yes.
so incredible.
Yes.
And also, I was going to say, my second point, I don't.
Well,
Well,
let me comment on that
yes.
too, Paul,
Well,
is really trying to make, because that's really something because especially working creative sort of serves there is a little bit of a gate that's there to make sure that it's people that are coming in that legitimately want to do that. And it's funny you mention that, because in some of my live creative problem solving sessions that I have, that's a big thing that I encourage people, because there is a version, as you're putting out your art, that there is a version of having to test to see what resonates or doesn't resonate. There has to be a version of iteration that happens with it. And sometimes that means, like, sometimes you're putting out stuff that's like, well, it wasn't exactly a home run, wasn't that, but at least you're able to get it up and test it in a place where you're not going to be trolled, right? You're not going to be trolled. You're not going to be mocked. And God willing, you're also going to get creative feedback that goes, cool. I see what you did there. Here's a couple of things that I might suggest to help you with it. Now, that's not to say that you don't build your, you know what it is? It's almost like gaining the confidence so that you can do that there, so that you can eventually put it out to a broader swath of people, and then feel a little bit more confident that there are going to be trolls. There are going to be people that come in and hate on the stuff or whatever. But because you've gotten the confidence about putting the stuff out there, you can start building that a little bit of that thicker skin that you need. So then you can go out to the larger channels to be able to share your stuff and to go, okay. And then to be able to recognize trolls for who they are and to just go, all right, almost like martial arts, Mr. Miyagi, to go, yeah, sure. Because believe me, I've had that happen over the last several years where I've had stuff where you just go, holy crap. Okay, troll. I'm so good on you for being that bold to say something with your avatar and bizarre name that I can't, track you down with. But, you just learn to shrug it off. But you get to do it. But you first get to get your training wheels and to get your confidence in a group where you are getting that encouragement, that support, and most importantly, creative feedback to help you move forward and get it better, you know?
That's what's so great about this community that you've built, that you're building, and of course the way you started too, Kevin, because it's so important to have that nurture, especially on a creative thing, and have that support. That is so important. I mean, I know Krista is here in the chat, and what you and Paul did in the previous podcast that you guys had with Krista to help her become the author that she has become was so important. And I know that that's probably what you have within this community, right?
Correct. This is a
Yeah.
big thing too. Also, Craig, you bring up a good point, which is, part of the reason that I wanted to do this is I wanted to make sure that I was creating a place that provided some things that I didn't experience myself on my creative journey, right? Some of the things I had on my professional creative journey, and Paul's been in some similar experiences that I have been in. But there are definitely times when we have been in some, you know, I guess I could broadly call it toxic environments where you go, holy
Yes.
smokes, man. They feel like, you're in rehearsals that feel like cage fights or things like this. That are like going, you just feel like this is probably not the most productive way to be creating something, right? And I think that a lot of the lessons that I've learned over the years is I looked at those things that I went through in the past and just looked at them as like, thank you, Lord, for giving me this opportunity. And thank you for giving me an opportunity to show how I won't lead when I'll be in the future and how I can turn this around in a positive way for people so that we can try and get the better stuff out of them. And again, that's not to be just like, oh, everything's great. I don't want to be,
Right.
I don't want to be a nanny with somebody, right? But there is a way to be able to encourage them through strength, guidance, all of that stuff. I just wanted to be able to provide that for others with the thing that at times I did not get in my earlier creative career, you know?
I want to say that, like, I think back in January when we talked about this, you equated it to like a creative gym. Like, everybody's working on their stuff. Everyone's there because they want to be stronger
Right.
and encouraging each other. Hey, man, you need a spotter and this and that. This kind of just ties into that second thought that I had originally, which was like, there's two different fears I have. when I'm creating something. And the first is that, should I even make this? Is it going to be good enough? If I show it to people and people think it's crappy, am I just going to hate the fact that I made it? And then the second one is, once it's done and you have your creative tribe around you, you start to show it to people outside of that tribe. That's the scariest part to me, is because it's like, you know, you don't think about it through life. I don't think not normal people, but not creative people who are doing this all the time, think about how different people are built for different audiences, or everybody has their own thing that, and what you're creating isn't going to reach both sides of the spectrum and go all the way across. Not everybody likes this genre. Not everybody likes this media type that you're making. So you have to be able to not let it crush you. If grandma doesn't like the 5-minute sketch you wrote about these high school boys cursing about their experience at 7-Eleven.
Come on, Grandma. Come on.
I
It's
think
funny.
that was one of the first things. Like, Kevin, you remember my first web series, Guess Again?
Yes, I do. Yeah.
We made like our first 2 episodes. We were so proud, but grandma was like, why are you wasting your time doing this? And then it just makes you go, oh, why am I wasting my time doing this? My grandma doesn't like it, but
I know.
grandma doesn't like toilet humor, college humor.
Correct.
So how do you explain that to people, or is that ever addressed?
No,
You
no.
know?
I think it's something. Listen, I think that it's a part of the thing. I also want to give a shout out to Krista and Charity that are both in the chat here. So good to see them here. I'll tell you what, Charity's been rocking it. She's been working on a book of poems for a while that she's been able to, uh, as she's been in working creative. Super proud of her. Special shout out. Here's the thing, Paul, like you bring up a really good thing, right? Because eventually we have to get to some point where what do we do? It's like being back in for the experience that I had, maybe part of the experience that you had going through school, right? When you're going through school and you're training for theater, it's like, well, yeah, when you're in a safe space, it's like, yeah, this is amazing, right? We've got to do it. I'm the king of the campus. Everything's fantastic. And then you get out and you just kind of go, "Ooh," right? Like somebody goes, who the hell are you? Who cares, right? And there is that thing of having to like retest it. And also I think part of this is like recognizing that is to go, I do think that we need to have parts with our creative projects of the thing that we're doing where we need to start getting that confidence to test it outside. Now, the thing that you bring up, which is very important, is and I think that this is important, especially as you start aiming towards the market, right? What is it that and you're trying to do a little bit of mind reading in a way, or maybe you're trying to see what seems to be resonating or what seems to be lacking out there, which maybe I might be able to make an impact with people. I think part of it is about trying literally practicing and testing and iterating in public and learning to like go, oh, okay, I'm going to test. And if this goes, can I try to create more stuff in this vein quickly at times? Or if it doesn't go, can I also redirect what I'm doing and going, okay, that just didn't work. I think, for example, think about Saturday Night Live. Saturday Night Live is a perfect example of this. You've got a thing where you've got to be you got to be like writing sketches, right? Writing sketches every week. And when you think about when you think about a Saturday Night Live show, when you go, however many sketches that they're doing in a night, 12, 13, 14 sketches, and you probably maybe go, huh, it's like maybe two or three that you kind of go, that's okay, right?
Yeah.
And and that's the percentage of
Mhm.
it. That's the percentage of what's going to hit, you know? And it doesn't mean that all of a sudden you go, well, that's it, guys. We shut down production. We only got two or three good ones this week. It's like, no, man, you just keep putting stuff up. And I mean, that's a perfect example of it, of just like, let's just keep throwing it out there, man. Keep throwing it out there. They all can't be winners, but we just kind of keep trying. And I think that that's a part of it is you have to, number one, gain your confidence with your tribe, right? But I do think for the individual artist, that we are called to go, hmm, I need to start testing my stuff outside of here, start having conversations. This was an interesting challenge that happened for me. Working Creatives is hosted on the school platform, skool.com. And, one of the biggest challenges that I've had, particularly as a creative, is, I have been in the Walt Disney Company circle for decades, right? And all of a sudden you start seeing that you're just in the same groups of people. And then you start to realize, like, I've exhausted kind of all of the resources or the abilities or the opportunities or all the stuff that I can do here, and I need to start branching out into another thing. And it's very interesting as I was starting, because not only do I have working creatives on the school.com platform, but that there's also other communities that are on there as well. And I started branching off into other things that are about online business and online marketing and all that stuff, as I need to start learning these things as a creative, right? I need to make sure that I'm being a multi hyphenate as I'm learning to do all this stuff at the same time. And it was so eye-opening to me as I start dipping into some of these other groups. There's group Synthesizer that's on school as well, which is amazing. And all of a sudden I walked in there and you start going like, oh my gosh, there's a whole bunch of other people that are here that are like-minded like me, that are also moving towards the same goal. And next thing, you start testing and having conversations with people that have never met you before, or they don't know anything about you. And all of a sudden you start seeing people kind of go, oh, wow, you've got something to offer. Let's talk. Let's start having conversations. And that's the thing that I think that I would want to stress to a creative that's out there, is to go, yes, I know it can feel terrifying that if you're putting your stuff out there in the world, that you feel like, if I put this out here, it's just going to get totally pummeled. But I'm going to have to tell you, there are also some amazing people that are out there that don't know who you are or what you have to offer, and you will end up being the delightful surprise that they never knew that you existed. And I've had this happen myself when I've gone to other groups, and I've had the experiences of other people just kind of go, who are you, dude? Like, where have you been? You're somebody that I've wanted to meet for a long, long time. And so that's the thing that I would encourage somebody that is like very tentative about, like, going, yeah, but what if it's not good enough? Or if I get out there and it fails? And it's like, yeah, but what if you don't get out there or test that stuff, and then you miss these opportunities with other people and other circles and branches that you're supposed to be meeting to branch out? Because art is a communicative art, right? It's a collaborative art, and it's also something that expresses part of the shared human experience. And if you're not putting it out there, man, if you're not putting it out there on somebody is going to miss that beautiful opportunity and those beautiful potential relationships that you could have, you know?
Beautiful thing about what we're doing, or the age that we're living in, is the support network that you just have to click on or tap on. Imagine, before the internet, before Zoom, before all of this, like, finding these creative support systems when you're already as scared and as lazy. And I don't mean lazy in a bad way, but as we are in our homes, like having to leave your home and go to a space and meet new people, shake new hands. Whereas now, like I've been saying since, I don't know, the start of COVID, you follow someone on Instagram, you reach out and you say, hey, you want to collaborate? And like, there's an opportunity there. I met so many of my best friends today on during COVID over the Instagrams and the Facebooks, but now you have this platform, Working Creatives, things like this, where it's just inviting you to open that door, knock on that door, open it, walk through it digitally, not even physically. Don't have to leave your house and walk out into the freezing Southern California 70-degree night. You can find somebody just with a tap or a click and collaborate. And that's beautiful that you're bringing people together like that, man.
Well, I have to tell you, man. I mean, shameless plug, and it's off. It's off brand from Working Creatives, but exactly what you talked about, Paul, is exactly what led to that. I'd rather be a buffalo getting created, right? So I'd Rather Be a Buffalo, which finally came out on Amazon Kindle. Doug Riggle, God rest his soul, who passed away, and I came on the show before to talk about him. Doug Riggle is a perfect example of that. Doug Riggle is somebody that I met online who had, because he had hired me to help tell his story, but we formed such a deep friendship and relationship, even though he was living in Ohio. And fortunately, before he was able to pass, he and I were able to connect. He had a work thing that happened where he flew me out to New Orleans, right? And we spent an entire weekend like hanging out with each other, right? And it was like, it's like we'd known each other for decades, you know? And so exactly what you're talking about. This medium right now, my gosh, what a huge blessing by God above that this has happened, that we're able to do this and to be able to have like this deep connection with people. And it's huge. And the ability just to be able to take advantage of that. And you're exactly right, Paul. Like it has become, it's legitimately like leveled the playing field where instead of having to go like, well, I can only be involved in the arts if I'm in this part of the country or this certain city or whatever, it's like, no, man, no, all bets are off. I'm working with magnificent people that are, out of Hungary and out of Georgia near Russia. Like I'm working with these people that are in these awesome locations. They're just like incredible people, and it's like, forget it, man. We're literally just a click away. It has changed the game. Period. Changed
We
it.
we've come a ways from when I was a high school student editing movies on 3 VCRs in my bedroom with VHS tapes and tape recorders connected to the auxiliary connect. We have phone studios in our pocket. We talk about all the time. I mean, movie studios in our pocket.
Yeah.
And we can, we don't have to send out invitations and gather 20 of our closest friends in our living room huddled around our TV set to watch what I've been working on my VCR. I can just share it out, and you can just share it out. And the art of creative, I mean, the act of creating I feel very confident in saying this, has never been easier in the history of mankind right now.
Never.
Yeah. So
And
do it.
and can I tell you this too, Paul?
No,
With
you're not
that
allowed.
said, I'm telling it to you.
Yeah. Okay, fine.
Producer Craig, mute his mic.
Uh,
Here's the thing. The thing that I have to say is this: is as easy as it is, we also have to make sure that we're showing up. We have to make sure that we're showing up. And it is so easy right now to have it just as an idea or a thought or whatever, just like, oh, gee, I'd really love to see that happen or whatever. But there's a difference between having that idea and then showing up and making it actually happen, right? And building that discipline. And one of the things that can help in that discipline is when you're doing it with a whole bunch of other people that are also on the same path and are also holding you accountable and checking in. Hey, where you been? What's going on? How's your project doing? And or also that you can make the commitment to other people and say, hey, help keep me accountable as we're doing it. And I think that that connection as well is so vital to help you get this stuff done, because it's so easy to think, yeah, I got this thing or I got this tool, but it's very easy for people that are creative to think about what it will be someday. It's another thing to show up and doing the work, but you don't have to do it alone. You can do it with other people. And that's
and I want
specifically what we're
to
trying to do. Go ahead,
and I want to bring up what Charity has said in the chat. The why is worth being vulnerable and brave,
Mm-hmm.
because this is exactly it. It's a matter of stepping out of your comfort zone and just doing it. What's the worst that can happen? Nothing. Why not give the people a piece of you, share you with everybody? And you may not be, like you said earlier, you may not be, the right drink for everybody, but there's somebody out there who would like that. That's why there are so many different genres of movies, genres of music, books, things like that. You got to give it a try.
That's it. You have to. Somebody out there is is waiting for that incredible gold. And you cannot don't deny it. Don't deny them. Don't deny them. Well done. Well said. Thank you, Charity.
I've just got a few more minutes with Kevin, and before I'm gonna I'm going to start a tradition, as this is our third annual reunion special for your Creative Journey podcast. And if this conversation has hooked you in any way, check out the 60 episodes on the Your Creative Journey podcast. That was only supposed to be 4 or 5 episodes, and then it was 60 because Kevin's a beast. And before we get into this, I want to ask you, Kevin, you've been teasing a new something on the horizon. Do you want to talk about it now, or do you want to leave that?
Specifically, the big thing is this. I really want to encourage people to come into workingcreatives.com to begin with. We are going to be opening up just little teaser on this. The big thing that I do is I do work with individuals to help them push it even further, to expedite their time, to get intensely focused on what they're doing. And you get it with me. You get it with me one-on-one. It's about that much that I'll say with it. But the best way to do this right now, shameless plug, get into workingcreatives.com, and the first things that you'll see, an incredible community of people that are sharing their different projects that are in there. I have live creative problem solving meetings that I do once you're inside the group, that if there's a project that you're working on and you're having some wins and challenges with it, I host 2 live ones a week that you can show up. I don't share those recordings. You only get to do those with me live inside there, and we work through your projects. And then I've also got a couple of classes that are inside there that are the 18-minute miracle. That's a course that is designed in order to get you to do your creative work just by showing up at least 18 minutes a day. And then I have another course in there which is called Your Anchor Project, which helps you get very, very, very focused about what specific creative project that you want to work on. And then soon I'll be releasing my one-on-one coaching with individuals, that if you want to join me on that, I'm going to help you get to the other side of that in over 90 days to make sure that you're making that progress to finally get your creative project done and to get it out there into the world. I'm going to be working with you so that we can learn to market this and get this out there. That's the big tease of what it is, but you can only get access to that if you're going into Working Creatives. And all the stuff I just talked about, being in Working Creatives, 18-minute miracle, your anchor point project, live creative problem solving, it's all free. It's all free. So if you're legitimately looking for the help and the support and the resources that you need, you don't have to drop a dime. You just need to make sure that you're showing up and taking advantage of this. I don't know how much more gold I can give you guys. That's all I can say.
I love it. Love it. We're putting all the links to everything in the description of the video and the podcast episode. And Kevin, before we say thank you and good night, we haven't talked about this, and this could be a whole different topic of conversation.
Of course.
I've been using AI as a tool.
I'm so huge. I'm so for it. So for it.
Okay. But so as we were coming on tonight, I said, I'm talking to Kevin Gregg of Working Creatives tonight. What questions should I ask him?
Here we go.
AI did its thing, and it brought me 23 questions to ask. So
let's do it.
We're not going to answer all 23.
That's okay.
I love that you were up for that, though.
I'd be almost like rapid fire, right?
Pick a number between 1 and 23.
Let's do 16. That's the one that popped in my mind.
All right. Well, this is about process and growth.
Okay.
Do you believe everyone has a creative season? How does timing affect projects?
Fantastic question. Thank you. Was it ChatGPT? Should I say thank you, ChatGPT?
Chat's my buddy.
Thanks, Chat. I think that everybody does get through seasons where they tend to be more creative and less creative. I do think that that's really based on, number one, what's going on with you personally. We can always have things that come up that can be challenges, trials, celebrations, hardships. I do think that the real gold comes from even learning to create, even when you're in the lower points. I've gone through it myself. Again, when I was doing I'd Rather Be a Buffalo, as I was finishing this thing up, Doug, God bless him, he'd had stage 4 cancer. He ended up passing away. while before we were wrapping up the thing, and had sort of a big shock with this, and I had to kind of go catch my breath and then kind of get things going so that I could kind of put the book together and do everything. And then the same, I've been pushing to get this thing released and published. I ended up taking the self-publishing route on Amazon Kindle Direct Publishing because I just needed his story to get out there. The same week that I put out the book was the same week that my father died of cancer, right? So like you just have these things kind of come. And I do think that yes, we have these moments where things are riding high, but the true test of a creative is learning to still show up even when it's the last thing that you want to do, and just going, I'm still going to show up and put my fingers to the keyboard or put my pen to paper or my brush to the canvas, even though I don't feel like it today, but I'm still going to show up to do it. And again, it's part of the reason why I'm so grateful that I even had the members even I kept working creatives going while I was going through all of that. And I got so many, this is not a pat on the back for me at all, but I had so many people that said, thank you for being a model, for showing up even when things are incredibly difficult. You keep showing up here for us. And I think that's sort of my roundabout answer to that question. So.
Well, I will keep the other 22 questions. I'm going to copy and paste them into a document, and every time you're on the show, or we should just start a podcast about the creative process. That would be fun.
I like it. We'll do, we'll do, Paul, we'll do this. We'll do little like Instagram stories, right? It'll just be like, hey, Kevin, answer this one. Paul, glad you asked this. Here's my answer on that, right?
Your creative journey Insta.
Yeah, we'll do that. Little creative journey. There you go. I did
creative TikTok. Oh, well, this was such a pleasure, and I love you, dude. And thank you for being here and sharing your wisdom. And so again, we're going to share all the links in the description of the video. Check out Working Creatives. Ladies and gentlemen, Kevin Gregg.
Thanks, guys. Thank you, Paul. Thank you, producer Craig. Thanks, everybody in the chat. Appreciate it. God bless all of you guys. Onwards, upwards. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.
Kevin Gregg.
Oh my gosh. You cannot help but love that enthusiasm. I mean, that is part of, first of all, that's a creative right there.
Yeah.
That's a total creative. And secondly, the enthusiasm that comes right out from him is so invigorating, so inviting, so exciting. You want to know more.
Sure. Yeah, but it's not just his enthusiasm. To me, since the moment I met this man, it was his heart. We met, he was an established Disneyland improviser, actor, and he was in commercials and stuff, and I got cast in this like Disneyland training video with him where it was my first time, and it was mostly improv, and he was the warmest, most supportive, welcome, let's do some improv. And from that moment that we met, I was just like, this man just like is the warm hug that you need before you go on stage.
Yes.
That's how I would describe his energy. And 20 years later, it's still him. And I texted him 2 or 3 nights ago. I said, hey, you want to hop back on the show, launch COVEpod again? And he was like, yes, let's do it immediately. And that's why we're here. And Kevin Gregg.
It's great. Yeah. And actually, this is interesting. I love it because we're tying into the poem that I have for today. And I'm glad that you gave me the idea, because this is a really good one. It's about like following your energy, falling back in love with being alive. And that's so important, especially when it comes to being a creative. I want to share the words directly from the author about this poem, and then I'll read the poem because it's perfect for this episode. And if you are a creative, it's perfect for that. The author of the poem, Jennifer Healy, and these are her words. This isn't just a poem about creativity. It's a poem for creativity. The intention here is to welcome something into your life, into your work, into your relationships, so you can create with delight and ease and without having to force it. I wrote this poem about creativity because I decided to stop forcing and start receiving. I wanted to stop forcing my creativity into the world. I wanted to stop rushing all the time. Let it happen.
Love that.
So this is called A Poem About Creativity by Jennifer Healy.
As performed by Gregg Jackman.
All I want to do is delight. Throw off the mask, not care or worry, not explain what I mean nor define what I do. Just be whatever I feel like being. Just relish in the energy of this moment. I want to be so alive that I feel like the moon, throwing tides just for fun, creating because it's what I'm here to do. I want to love the color orange just because it craves delight too. I want to cry because I'm so in love with the miracle of being alive. I don't want to feel like I'm striving. I want to try and feel like I'm flying. I want to write the poetry, read the poetry, breathe the poetry. I want my life to be a beautiful, messy mosaic that even I can't help but fall in love with. Create. Create. I feel the winds of fury blowing through me. Even my bones are smiling. I hear my veins pulsing with desire, like branches dancing in the breezes. Wild flowers are waving and the ocean blossoms with a new idea. Crazy and beautiful is how I want my life to feel. Let it be. Let it be. I write to be free. I read to tap in. I absorb the poetry. And so it shall be. And now I am this energy.
Beautiful, man. I missed your poetry.
Thank you. I missed you. I missed this.
Me too. Me too. As everybody, I'll just give a quick breakdown. As everybody knows, I've been working on my Titanic podcast the past year, ready to go on hiatus from that and pick back up with the COVEpod. Got a lot of really exciting guests, more exciting guests to bring on that we've met over the past year, over the kids' various projects and so on and so forth. And expect more of this. You can always support the show on Patreon. Head over to Patreon and just give a search for COVEpod and Titanic Legacy. You'll find the channel. There's a bonus episode every month, a request-a-sode, where you get to drop in your musical requests and poetic requests for our performers that come on once a month. For those, they're not on YouTube. They're only, well, they are on YouTube, but you only have access through the Patreon. It's $3 a month. That's a cup of coffee, and you stay in the community and get all these great updates. There's going to be a lot more awesome stuff coming up. I've got, if you follow me on the socials, you know I've been working on a story we're going to share through live streamed performances, and you're going to get exclusive access to stuff early for that, and some drop-ins on recording sessions for that if you're in the Patreon Cove community. So head over to check it out. And there's just so much exciting stuff ahead. Please make sure you are plugged in. I'm sure everybody's listening right now is subscribed. But if you're not yet, if you just stumbled upon this years from now and you want more of this great content, check out the Your Creative Journey podcast. Check out the Working Creatives community. Check out Vodacity. Check out all of the things that are out there in the universe, because we create. And they are out there for you to enjoy, and hopefully they will inspire you, because that is my number one goal. And I know Craig and Kevin share the same sentiments. And let's give it up again for producer Craig Jackman. My applause button is so slow right now. Look, I just hit it, and then it's wait for it. There it is. And of course, give it up for our guest, Kevin Gregg. Just hit it. You got it. Craig's got it. Thank you. Again, if you're just listening, the link is workingcreatives.com. You can find Kevin's website at kevingregg.com. And he's on the Instas at kevinmgregg.com. That's Gregg. The angry egg, I think he likes to say. But we again, thank you guys again for jumping back on. We're back on the COVEpod train, and it's going to take us great places this year and the coming year, as we're not waiting for the new year to start this revolution or resolution, as we were talking before the episode. Well, we're just gonna get things going here in November and carry it through. So join on, grab it, run along, cling to the side of the train, or just get on it. Thank you, producer Craig. We'll see everybody really soon.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
I hit the button for the intro music. We'll see you later. There it is.